see you're right where I left you, festering in worms. A long dead soul cocooned in its silent, blackened hell, with only the sound of insects to comfort you. Well, my rotten friend, there is hope for you yet. Another wretched rebuke has finally broken from the cemetery's frozen grip. So, my corpseified cohort, make yourself comfortable and prepare for another sickly selection from yours truly, Putrid Paul.
So many bands, so little time. Down here amongst the bones and grime. A creature foul, rank with decay. Hidden from the light of day. This darkened quest, review them all. Now heed these words from Putrid Paul.
Welcome back, my disciples of death, to the subterranean solace, my eternal tomb buried deep in the towering medieval spires of the cult of Phantasm. After an extended hiatus probing the net regions of the void, I have returned with a morsel of death worship so savage the mere mention of its name amidst a miasma of hexes from beyond meant to curse your every living breath. But before we get into that, the boys from Expunged so generously delivered a pungent package sopping with death metal delights right to my tattered, unwelcome mat. First up, the new Expunged EP, recently released in CD format. If you haven't heard this brutal blend of old school death metal, don't even finish this episode. I have a full review of these monsters up on the channel. Crank this beast until properly deafened. And of course, what's a physical copy without accessories to go with? New Expunged pin is a must. And of course, this totally badass patch is fucking mandatory. Impaled skull design with logo. Nice touch. And finally, a heartfelt note from the masters themselves. Greetings, Putrid Paul, ruler of the dark and morbid depths. We, the Hellfire Molten Freaks of Expunged, offer this token of death to be sacrificed and condemned to the foul, ghastly depths for all eternity. Enjoy. That I will. Makes my black heart ooze with slime. Nothing like an authentic slice of evil direct from the overworld. Good to know there is still some mighty musical menace afoot in the land of weak flesh and poor taste. Many thanks to Expunged. Keep it dead and nasty. Hails. You can find Expunged, music, and merchandise in the link below. And now for this episode's truly ghastly expose. Quebec, Canada's own Cruel Fate, and their debaucherous full-length debut, a quaternary of decrepit nightmares. I managed to obtain the completely killer cassette version, limited to only 100 copies, direct from Dawning Septic Productions. If you hunger for underground up-and-coming death, this is the table at which to feast. Formed in 2015, with a full-length out a mere 4 years later, this is fresh meat stinking up the cemetery, barely buried in its newfound and shallow grave. This is more old-school, no bells and whistles death metal, primitive, raw, and unforgiving in its uncompromising oral wrath. No meandering fingerwork or overly technical fretboard showboating here. Just dirty blasts, whiplash riff storms, and fuzzy feedback slithering its way into your slowly rotting brain. The vocal range is somewhere between a dark overlord's dismal roar and the graveled and broken larynx of a reanimated corpse. The lyrics describe several excruciating forms of slow death, laced with powerful poetic charm. From the front cover depicting an unknown victim being strung up and dismembered by horses, to the very moniker in its bold, blood-red font, right down to the vivid lyrics and profound song titles, a perpetual throb of violence dominates Cruel Fate's debut album. Carrion Wind starts with sinister shreds, coupled by smashed-in drum hardware. A very brief starting riff before the song unhinges into a death-by-fire corporal punishment anthem. A satisfying rhyme structure, along with snare blasts at the end of each passage, makes for a catchy little tune. Near the end, the pace slows and allows you to bang your skull, full head of hair draped in front of your face, as you chug on the air guitar hanging low past your knees. Carrion Wind describes in great detail the infinite yet ephemeral agony, burning alive at the stake as the breeze carries your ashes and burnt post-mortem perfume across a persecuting crowd. Skinning of Life begins with a muddy bass line accompanied by some sharp feedback as the hi-hats glisten. Another opportunity to bang your head presents itself as a basic time signature unfolds, with guitars chugging, drums kept to a simple but brutal minimum, and lyrics are heard telling of the unfathomable anguish of having your flesh peeled away. To see your God's light in the glint of a knife, a hideous laugh begins the end of your life. Bare your whole soul to the heavens you cry. Metal meets skin, you will slowly die. Skinning of life, to be skinned alive. Strip by slow strip, God hides his eyes. A drum fill initiates a new riff, with heavy ride hits and progression to double bass and further depictions of barbaric defleshment, and an overall expungement of faith. Final thud of toms and guitar, and the coffin lid slams hard on this one. Ossuaric dust and pallid stains. Climbs with snare and a drum fill, before diving headfirst into a fast and filthy sonnet about the eternal consignment of the tomb. The first half of the song consists of circle pit-inducing, thrashing mayhem. Wild drum play is prevalent, and this may be one of the fastest compositions on the album. The back half slows only a bit as drums and shredding axe coalesce. More ominous chords and shredded strings spiraling into oblivion. Really no room for bullshit on this release, not so much as a single solo. The music is straight to the point, brutally blunt, like getting your entrails scooped out with a spoon and skipping on the initial incision. Cruel Fate will have your flesh twisted beyond a human resemblance, limbs torn asunder and hideously hemorrhaging from your brain pan. Make sure to check out Dawning Septic Productions for a salacious selection of truly underground titles on all formats, as well as merchandise. Remember to support underground death metal, even unto the most cruel fate imaginable, and buy a physical copy at any cost, be it life or death. Stay fucking gory.
Join your host Corey Gorchrist and Dr. Vincent West for exclusive interviews with the sickest bands in metal and more. Head over to cultopphantasm.com, the only gravesite for all things horror and death metal. No filler, all killer.